How's the Jeep project coming along, John? I know you said you have to have it done by September.
Yeah, that's the new goal. It's so I used to call this thing Project XJ, and it's just been ongoing for a few years. So yeah, it's coming back into the spotlight, coming back up to the front burner. I've yet to dust around it, but I'm kind of planning how to reorganize the garage so I can get in there.
You're disappointing our listeners, John. You said you were going to have progress reports for us. You got no progress this week?
I've acquired some parts. That's about it.
Oh, you've acquired parts.
Well, you got to go parts hunting to, finish it.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's time to hit the trail, lock in those hubs, and throw it into low range. Because you are listening to Wheelin' with Keith and Johnny Orange, broadcasting from the Thin Line Off-Road Studio. They're here to talk about 4x4s, trucks, and everything to do with enjoying the great outdoors. Buckle up. Here's your hosts, Keith and Johnny Orange.
Hey, John, how superstitious are you?
I mean, I believe in a number of the paranormal. Sure.
But, I mean, you're not like superstitious where the black cat crosses your path and all that.
I still walk through. You never saw The Matrix, man? It's just, there's a glitch, so you just keep going.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right.
I mean, we bring bananas on the boat, so I'm not that superstitious.
Wait, what?
You never heard that?
No.
I don't remember how far back it dates, but it used to be considered, and it is by many people to this day, bad luck to bring bananas on a boat.
I thought it was bad luck to bring women on a boat.
That too.
That's terrible, John.
I didn't say it.
Well, that was the old sailor thing. That's why.
Mm-hmm. Bananas was up there too. There's a dive boat I've been on out of Milwaukee. I witnessed a friend of mine walking to the boat with a banana, and the captain grabbed it out of his hands and threw it in the water before he got on the boat.
I have been around boats my entire life, and I have never heard this.
I've known it since I've been hanging around on boats, but.
And you're sure you're not like confusing this with something else, huh?
No, it's bananas.
I mean, isn't there like a suntan lotion called Banana Boat?
Yes. It's not a real banana, though.
Oh.
You can bring that on the boat, just not the actual fruit.
So you can bring the banana boat on the boat, but not
Yes.
the banana on the boat.
Correct.
That's terrible.
I didn't make the rules.
So the reason I ask is this is episode number 13.
Oh, excellent.
So, some people have a lot of suspicion around that. Actually, for me, it's been kind of a lucky number over the years because I was born on the 13th.
Nice.
And actually, what the heck, if, listeners want to send me a card, my birthday's October 13th. So every couple of years, it falls on October, Friday the 13th.
I graduated college on Friday the 13th.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
And my high school graduation date was June 6th, 2006.
Okay, 666. I get it. All right.
Generally, bad luck numbers have good meaning for me, it always seems.
All right, so we're on board here. So 13, some people consider bad luck, and that's what we want to talk about today, is kind of when your luck runs out in the trail, what do you do? But before that, want to do our news?
Yeah.
What kind of news do you have this week? Well, tell us about your Jeep project, your Project XJ. We'll put that in the news this week.
So Project XJ is a 1988 Jeep Cherokee, and it is the very first thing I started learning how to do any sort of mechanical, welding, electrical, anything to do with cars. That's what I started learning on. Mm-hmm. It's had full suspension replacement. We've swapped the front axle. The rear axle's a Ford 8.8. I've built the transfer case. I have a different transmission, different 5-speed manual for it. I've done some bolt-on engine upgrades to it. I kind of started with the idea of the best of stock. So through all the different years of the Cherokee, it's got the best of the stock engine parts under the hood.
And it's got like a 4-inch lift, something like that?
Yep, about a 4.5-inch lift.
Okay.
The end goal is to be running 33s on it, disc brakes all around. And just a beefed up, better transmission than what it originally came with.
AX15 probably?
Yep, that's replacing the Puget BA10.
Is it pronounced Puget or Peugeot?
I don't know, I'm not from France.
No, okay, all right.
I don't speak French.
All right.
No, the engine has just there's a number of performance upgrades, exhaust headers, the late model intake, aftermarket cold air intake on that thing, just some other performance upgrades.
All right. And you were just telling me a minute ago that, pardon, a little frog in the throat there. You were just telling me a minute ago that you haven't got any progress this week on it, but you're going to get some more progress soon. You've been collecting some parts.
Yep, I've got some more parts that I need to finish the project. Almost everything I need to put it together. I've had a lot of the parts stored in there or around it over the years. Like I've got Fox Performance reservoir shocks for it. So it's just a matter of bolting everything together.
So I need next week. I want a progress update where you actually did something to it.
Oh, you'll have one.
Turned a wrench.
You'll have one. I'm going to probably dust it and move the tools and the
Dusting
storage
doesn't
stuff.
count.
Well, it's got to count for something. I'll vacuum it out too.
All right.
What's left of the floor anyway.
Well, so also, is that your updates on Project XJ?
Yeah, for now. Yeah,
Okay.
there's going to be more next week. Hopefully, a good chunk of progress.
Did you have any other news that you wanted to talk about?
I think that was about it.
I wanted to mention Wheels in the Woods.
Oh, right.
Just bringing that up. We have that coming up September 28th for our listeners. If you're in Southeast Michigan, that's located in Clay Township, Michigan. And that is an annual show that's put on by the Museum of Off-Road Adventure. You can find more information on the museum page. And they actually have an event there called Wheels in the Woods. So you can go to that. We're going to be at that. That's kind of the only news that I have right now.
Yeah, hopefully, as long as all goes well, Project XJ will be there as well.
Absolutely. No, and the other Jeep as well.
Yes,
The
they'll
diesel
both
one.
be there.
Yeah, we want to have everything there.
Yep, get my dad to come out and bring one with me.
So on the trail or in the out in the woods, things you've done in the past. What is your what was your oh geez moment? What was your moment that you've had where you really just kind of freaked out? Where you got something in mind, John?
Well, I believe I mentioned the story last week about the four-wheeler that I flipped. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was it, just because we were so far from home or any sort of help. That was before either of us had cell phones. It was the two of us, with no communications. If something happened, he'd have had to leave me out there to go get help. So that was, until we found out my four-wheeler still ran, that was a pretty kind of moment.
Okay. And you got it flipped over, and you said it was upside down in the water.
Yeah, it was floating upside down in the water. I was submerged in shallow water and mud. And yeah, I stood up, and I was very dazed and confused. Didn't know what was going on. My helmet and goggles were completely flooded with pond water.
How'd you handle the situation? Like, what was take me through the steps of it. Right after we already know what happened, but after this happened, this is what I'm curious about. When really when it hits the fan, what was the first thing that went through your mind? Were you nervous? Were you mad? Were you, what am I going to do? Was it woe is me? What was your initial thoughts?
Right off this was years ago, so trying to remember a lot of that. I'll do the best I can. Just pumping adrenaline, like what's going on, what happened, trying to register what happened. Last I remember, I was flying down this trail. Like I said, I threw my arm up to hit the branch, and then suddenly I'm inhaling water. So it just took a few seconds to process, but just panic of, I broke the four-wheeler, and we're a long ways away from home.
But you got it going. You said it was running fine.
I got up. I ripped my goggles off, threw my helmet, just so I could breathe and kind of calm myself down. And then when I realized the four-wheeler's upside down, I flipped it over, shut the electronics off, took the seat off, make sure there was no air getting in the air box or anything. Okay. And then it was just kind of sit down for a minute, kind of calm down, make sure I'm not hurt, nothing's bleeding, nothing's broken, and then start troubleshooting and figure out, well, we got to get home now.
Exactly. Well, that's what it's about. You got to be able to get home. At the end of the day, no matter if you're out by yourself or, like we've said before, the buddy system is always a good thing when you're wheeling, to go wheeling with somebody else. But you still need to get home, whether it's that day or if you're on a multi-day trip, to be able to get back to the trailhead. And, hopefully maybe if you do a breakdown that you have a tow rig. But if you don't have a tow rig, figuring out how to get your vehicle running so you can get back. The earliest one that I can think of where I had an issue with that was that first S10 Blazer that I had. We were up at Silver Lake, and I went through in Michigan at sand dunes, and I went through deeper water than I should have, and I hydrolocked the engine. Now, we pulled the spark plugs out, we got it dried out, but it wouldn't restart. Didn't know why. Did a bunch of diagnostics. We tried to get, tinker with it, just could not get the thing to fire. And so my initial thoughts at that point, were like, oh man, what am I going to do? How do I get this home? I was freaking out a little bit. But reality set in that I knew that I was there with a friend who was also wheeling, and his vehicle had a hitch on it. Now, it was probably a little undersized. He had a Chevy S10, and I had an S10 Blazer. He had a little pickup. So I was probably a little small on the truck size to tow it home. But he had, like I said, he had a hitch on it. So we rented a U-Haul trailer. We put my Blazer on it, and we drove home. Cost me a couple $100 in fuel and to rent a trailer. Got home, got it running. But you just think at that point, okay, well, I was the buddy system. I had a friend with me, and speaking of trailering and trailer sizes, I think that's what we're kind of planning on doing on our next episode, is talking about proper trailering techniques. But,
sounds good to me. I've always been concerned with the how to pick them out thing.
Well, exactly, yeah. In this case, this is before I had a trailer, and this many, many years ago, and we had to drive home with that S10 like 45 miles an hour across the state.
So it took a while.
It did,
yeah.
But we got it done, and that's what it's all about. So the psychology of it, when something happens, no matter what happens, whether it be a vehicle emergency or a medical emergency or something on the trail that becomes an emergency, to sit back, breathe deep, and realize that, probably 9 times out of 10, if you're on a trip with other people, somebody there is going to be able to help.
Yeah.
And if you're out there by yourself, that is what makes this hobby and this sport so awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Is it forces you to bring out your inner MacGyver.
I'm good at that.
Yeah, well, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
I remember another trip with my first quote-unquote built rig. I had a Jimmy on 1-ton axles.
Right. Is that the black one you used to have?
The black one,
I remember that. I have its springs on Project XJ.
Oh, you do? Okay. The rear springs, I think, right?
I believe they were,
because I think I thrashed the front ones.
Yeah.
And I had my measuring when setting up, I did a leaf spring conversion on it, and I had done a little bit of mismeasuring for compression rates and things like that, and I ended up overextending the springs and bending the heck out of my front shackles.
Oof.
So, and I'd also bought cheap like aftermarket eBay lowering shackles that I flipped around to use for kind of like a lift shackle, and it was a terrible choice. So I'm out on this trail up in the UP. I'd driven up there. I did not have a tow rig. I had driven it all the way up there, and we're out camping and wheeling for a couple of days, and I was up on a rock, and I bent those shackles so severely that I could only turn left. And so,
nice.
Out on the trail, we used some pry bars and some other tools and a ratchet strap and I think somebody else's winch to pull it back enough where I had some right turning, but I still mostly could only turn left.
Nice.
Because it actually shifted over the whole axle assembly in the front. Get back to campground. I'm kind of freaking out at this point because I'm like, I can't drive down I-75 through Michigan safely with only basically being able to turn left. Not a good idea.
No.
And so, yeah, exactly. And so, I'm kind of freaking out, but I realized the community came together, and this is one of the things that really turned me on to wheeling. The people that were there, we had 6 or 7 people there that were wheeling. And next thing you know, out came the portable welders, out came the scrap steel that people had. And in the long run, a friend of mine actually let us cut off the end of one of his high lift jacks to kind of make a shackle assembly that worked, and it got me home.
I love it.
So the inner MacGyver came out, and that's what I had to do. So that's what we're talking about today is these type of things and some of these stories. What do you do when, really, it seems to all go wrong? But the fact of the matter is you've got your life, your health. I mean, there are medical emergencies, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But when you are in a situation, breathe, relax. If it's something severe like a rollover, you get the vehicle flipped back over with help of friends, a winch, straps, and those are types of safe extraction techniques. We'll probably do a different episode.
Yeah.
But getting the vehicle back over, restart it if possible, driving off the trail. So those are the types of things that we want to talk about today. I think this might be a good time for a break. Would you not think?
Sounds good.
Hey, it sounds like it's time to swap out that old engine for something better, John.
Yeah, man, but I have so much into my trans and transfer case set up already. I don't want to change those too.
Sounds like you need to call Quick Draw Brand Adapters. They specialize in conversion bell housings for nearly all diesel and gasoline engines, including the new 2.8R Cummins.
I like weird engines though. I want something different.
Then you definitely need to visit QuickDrawBrand.com today. They have those hard-to-find parts. They also have used diesel engines available. You can call them at 513-446-9654.
Cool, I'll do that. See what they have. Thanks.
And we're back, John. We had to go kind of a strange break there. John and I were having some dinner prior to, and tell you what, folks, I had a frog in my throat. I had to get rid of it.
Good food though.
Oh, very good food.
Oh,
yeah. We're all better now. John, what is, and maybe you don't have one, but like, what would be your biggest concern or your biggest fear for something to happen to you out on the trail or out in the boondocks?
Oh, getting hurt.
Okay.
Obviously, or someone else.
Or someone else.
Yeah, someone who doesn't have. I've got a little basic knowledge for what to do. So probably someone who doesn't know, or if I'm hurt and they don't know what's going on.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. So medical emergencies on the trail.
Yeah.
And there can be many of them. Everything from, you got somebody that's middle age has a heart attack.
Yeah.
To
broken finger.
Yeah, something that exactly has to do with the wheeling event itself. In my years of wheeling and the events I've gone on, I have seen a gentleman suck his fingers into a winch.
Ooh.
And nearly sever his fingers.
Ouch.
I've seen some crush injuries. I've seen people in rollovers get banged. Fortunately, nothing ever super serious, but
still unpleasant.
Exactly. Friends of friends, though, in the wheeling community here in Michigan and I guess we're the northeast, Midwest, we're east of the Mississippi.
I don't know. They just call us Midwest.
I know. I don't know why they call us Midwest either. But I've had, I guess, acquaintances. I knew one gentleman that somebody had thrown a toe strap on a hitch on a ball.
Uh-oh.
It sheared off and it went and killed him.
The ball or the
ball did.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
With doing that, I'm aware of another gentleman that was in a rollover accident that his ear actually came right off. So these things happen.
Yeah.
Do you know the best ways to get medical help in a severe situation like that when you are off trail?
That's a good question.
Well, obviously, we all have cell phones these days. And range of cell phones is getting better and better and better. So, of course, 911, if possible.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing with 911, and if you're calling a 911 operator, they very well are familiar with the area that you're in for the roads.
Yeah.
But off-road, if you tell them I'm on... Unless it's like a popular area, like say you're at an area with an off-road park and you say, I'm at so-and-so off-road park, they're going to understand that.
Yeah.
But if you are, let's say, for example, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and you're in an area where you can go off-roading, and you make that call, you might not even be on a named trail or a named road. You might be on a 2-track. Now, I'm not a highly technological guy. Maybe you can tell our listeners how to do this, but I do know that most cell phones, and certainly all dashboard-mounted GPSs that I've ever seen, or the ones you stick on your windshield, there is an option in there for getting your GPS coordinates.
Yep. In your settings, it's turning your 911 location on. And that allows 911 to communicate with your device to get your exact GPS location.
But what if somebody needed those coordinates? Could they get those from a phone if they had no cell phone signal?
I believe there's a way to, but to be perfectly honest, I don't know.
Okay, so that's going to probably go device that's going to probably go device to device.
Oh, absolutely. They're all going to be a little bit different.
So, look at your cell phone, figure out if there's a way, look it up to figure out if there's a way. One easy way is to put it on airplane mode or to turn off your mobile data to see if you can figure out if there's an internal GPS in the phone, to see if it'll give you coordinates. And if there is, how to get to them, practice how to do that.
Say, I have had applications in the past that the phone obviously have GPS capabilities, but I was in the mountains of Tennessee. I had no service, and it would not function just as GPS mode.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to do some more digging on that.
So, your device may or may not work, but I do know that even those, they're very cheap now. You can buy them as cheap as $40 or $50 for an old Garmin type directional GPS. Almost all of those have a button right on them, real easy, where you can hit where it'll tell you the GPS coordinates. If you give the GPS coordinates to the 911 operator or to the ham radio operator, if you're on a ham radio or even a CB radio, chances are that the dispatcher is going to be able to get a helicopter, medevac, something to you.
Yeah.
Because GPS coordinates are very accurate. So being able to know how to find the GPS coordinates of where you are is very important.
Absolutely.
And in a medical emergency, that can be life or death.
Oh, yeah.
Now, John, you and I are not, we're not doctors, we're not nurses, we're not medical professionals here. But we've talked before about some things to carry with you as maybe a small medical kit, especially like one of those tourniquet kits.
Yeah.
And some gauze for compression, things like that. Because some of the most common injuries that happen either in a rollover or in a wheeling accident of sorts are usually either, deep gouges and gashes or crush injuries. Of course, tourniquet doesn't do much of that, but bleeding injuries.
Yeah.
So being able to stop bleeding,
yes.
However is going to be best for you, being able to stop bleeding.
Yeah.
It's probably goes without saying that just about everybody should get some, but CPR training.
Oh, yeah.
CPR and standard first aid training. Just being out there and being able to do CPR can save someone's life.
Oh, absolutely. You never know when you might need something like that, too. That is skills that doesn't just translate to off-road.
Exactly.
Sitting in a restaurant, somebody starts choking or passes out. You never know when you might use those.
Exactly. So, is there anything else on medical that you want to cover, you want to talk about?
Biggest thing, just have some water.
Well,
make sure you have clean water. Rinse it off at least if you can. Certain wounds you don't want to get dry.
True.
Not saying you want to water them and grow them, but
yeah,
it's just general care.
Not that I'm talking about taking alcohol on the trails or anything, but even just carrying a small bottle of rubbing alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
Or a pint of the old Everclear or something, something like that, a clear alcohol.
Yeah.
Can help greatly too to flush out wounds if there's dirt, grease.
It's going to be a while to get help. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yep.
So that's something that you want to think about in your trail kit. We talked about that a couple episodes ago in what to pack in your rig. So we don't want to go too much on that.
Yeah.
But if a medical emergency happens when you're on the trail, you want to stay calm. You want to address the situation, and then if external help such as 911 or medevac or wherever you're at is needed, then it's a good idea to do that. Now, something I've seen on sanctioned trail runs that are out in the bush, some of them that I've been on over the years have the emergency contact information for the area on, like basically a trail guide that you get at the beginning of the event.
It's not a bad idea.
It's a very good idea.
Yeah.
And even if you're going to go to an unfamiliar area, to look those things up and to know that if there's an emergency situation, is, one, is 911 the number you call, or if not, is it something else?
That's something we do at the boat. When we're going to a different port, somewhere we don't normally stay, we go through and make what's called an emergency assistance plan.
Okay.
And on that plan are all of those contacts. In our case, sheriff department, marina, local Coast Guard station, local hospitals. It's got all those contact information, so if something happens, you know who to call.
That's a great idea.
Oh, yeah.
And doing that for an area that you might be off-roading or wheeling in.
Oh, especially, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. So, going a little bit lighter now, we went to kind of the darker end of things with medical emergencies, but kind of going back to the most basic trail, it's not really an emergency, but thing that would, that your luck runs out on is when you get stuck. But now keep in mind that getting stuck is part of off-roading.
Oh, yeah.
But the first time, or maybe even the second time you get stuck, or sometimes even a seasoned individual who gets a little, overconfident, you get stuck, and now you have to know how to safely extract this vehicle. People start to freak out sometimes. I've seen it. They get out there and like, oh my God, I've gotten this stuck. I'm going to damage something, or how am I going to get out? Of course, having things like a winch helps. Wheeling with a buddy helps.
Oh, yeah.
But let's just talk worst case scenario. So I'm just going to throw you and you may have been in this position in your life. I'm not sure or not. But let's say, John, you're out wheeling in a mild to stock vehicle, and you're by yourself.
Okay.
And you are way back in the bush somewhere, and unexpectedly you get that thing stuck. You've got no high lift jack with you. You've got no winch. You don't have really anything like that. You don't have any, let's just say no supplies. You don't have rope. What are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to look around, see what's around me first off. Make sure the vehicle's not overheating from trying to, rock it back and forth or something. If I can find some sticks, maybe build some sticks up, try and get some traction if I'm stuck in mud.
That's really the answer we were looking for. So sticks and rocks can quite often get you unstuck.
Oh yeah, that I have done that a number of times.
Or even if you're in sand or mud, digging with your hands.
Done that too.
Exactly. It's messy, but it works.
Yep.
Another thing is your floor mats.
Yeah, I've read that. I've never tried that, but yeah.
It depends on the terrain.
Oh,
it
yeah, absolutely.
sometimes works. You usually tear up your floor mats, but it works sometimes.
Get you out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's just say that none of those things worked. And you're, 5 miles back into the bush somewhere. What are you going to do?
Call a buddy. Probably call you.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, John. Now, let's even just go a little bit more. What, you don't have a cell phone signal, or you forgot your cell phone. You don't have a CB, you don't have a ham radio. What are you going to do?
Smoke signals.
Smoke signals. Actually, that is not a terrible idea. If you were going to be stranded for days at a time, you could build a fire so somebody knows to look for it.
Yeah.
To start with, before that situation ever happened. Now, that going wheeling with no recovery equipment by yourself in an area where you can potentially get stuck is typically not a good idea.
I would say no.
We're not. We're not endorsing it.
Yeah, no.
But if you're going to be wheeling, even if you're wheeling with somebody else, but if you're going to be wheeling by yourself, it is especially important to give somebody notice that you're planning on going. And even your mom, your sister, your friend, your neighbor, if you say, hey, I'm going out and I'm going wheeling and I'm going to be approximately in this area, so I'm going to go out on so and so trail, or I'm going northeast from here, or whatever the case may be, and then saying, I expect to return by 6 p.m. or whatever it may be. telling them that. So there's somebody else accountable.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't show back up at 7 or 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night,
They know something's up.
They know something's
Yeah.
up.
That's another thing we do on the boat. Every time we leave, we're going out. We should be back by this. When we get back, we shoot them a quick text or call says we're back.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
So doing it that way. If you're in that situation though, and let's say you didn't do that, and you're just really, you didn't prepare, you didn't plan. Maybe you weren't even purposely wheeling. Maybe you were going and you were looking for some scenic waterfall or something, and you made the wrong turn down what you thought was a country road, and it ended up being just a mud pit of sorts, and you get stuck. The first thing to do is to, of course, like you said, take a look around your situation. And you might be stuck out there. You might be stuck out there overnight. Conserve any food that you may have with you. Even if you just happen to have an old candy bar in the console, don't eat it right away.
Yeah.
Because you might be stuck there for 24 hours. Water, if you have water, conserve that. And then start to get a plan. Don't just leave your car idling.
No.
Only do that if you need heat.
Yeah.
Don't idle it for air conditioning. Don't idle it to charge your cell phone or just listen to the radio. Only idle your vehicle if it can idle safely while still being stuck. Only idle your vehicle basically for heat.
And even then, I'd say try and find another heat source.
If you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can. So, and then at that point, you need to assess, okay, am I going to hike back to where I started, get out to civilization, or am I going to wait for help? Many different options. This last spring, I found myself in this exact same situation. We were over on the west side of the state. We were tail gunning, which is we were following up a group of people that were off-roading, and they were actually in a ragtag bunch of four-wheelers, go-karts, and various other vehicles, but we had our Ford Excursion.
Nice.
The proper form wasn't used, and the people didn't check to make sure that everybody got through. We were out on a sandy portion. We didn't get stuck. We actually started to overheat the transmission, and we lost all our trans fluid, and we had no forward, no reverse gears. So
should have gotten a stick.
Yeah, well, I was real close to swapping one in that day.
Yeah.
I was real close. So now here we were stuck out there, no cell phone range, couldn't get a hold of anybody, and we had to figure it out. We ended up waiting until somebody from our party came by, which was about an hour and a half later, to say, hey, where you been? Then we had to kind of hitchhike back, get some trans fluid, and everything was fine.
Oh, that's good.
But, frustrated. It's like, here I am, a seasoned wheeler, been doing this stuff for years, and I'm in, like, the most newbie situation ever. Going, what am I doing?
They say it happens to everybody.
It happens to everyone. So why don't we listen to a word from our sponsor, John, and we'll be back in a minute.
Sounds good. See you in a bit.
The following is a public health alert from ABC Home and Commercial Services regarding bats. Bat guano contains airborne viruses and fungi that are spread throughout the home through heating and cooling air circulation. If inhaled, it can infect your respiratory system and cause anything from flu-like symptoms up to and including death. Bats can also soil your insulation, causing thousands of dollars in replacement cost. To have them removed from your home, call ABC Home and Commercial Services at 810-794-5678. That's 810-794-5678.
All right. So, John, if you were way out of town and let's say multiple states away and you had a breakdown, whether it be on the road or on the trail, what's your plan?
Call AAA.
You have roadside assistance?
Nope.
AAA is not going to help you very much.
No, it just sounded like the right answer.
Oh, okay. Well,
again, a lot of it just depends what's wrong. I'm going to look around, see if I have tools to fix it or any parts, something I can make work for it.
Oh, okay.
And go from there.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. In this day of social media, too, you can get onto various Facebook groups.
Oh, yeah.
Especially Facebook groups. Twitter and Instagram aren't great for this, but you can get onto Facebook groups that are local to the area, especially if you have a weird vehicle, and you say, hey, you know, I'm just going to throw something out there. I'm in Moab, Utah, and I just blew the drive shaft in my TJ.
How about I'm in Emily City. We blew the tire or ripped the tire apart on a Hummer military truck.
Yes, you told that story, but you never
Yeah.
told me you were in the Emerald City. I mean, what were you doing picking up Dorothy and the Tin? Is that what you said, in Emerald City?
Oh, Emily City.
Oh, Imlay City,
Yeah.
not the Emerald City from Wizard of Oz.
No.
It's like, I didn't think you could drive on the Yellow Brick
No, that's
Road.
in Ohio.
Oh, okay, all right. What?
I don't know.
You're so weird. So, something I carry something called Good Sam Insurance. And that actually covers your vehicle and your trailer, and it's typically for campers, but it covers all your vehicles. It's not very much money. I think it's like $60 a year or something.
Wow, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, and it has more coverage than even AAA does. So I do that, and they'll tow me anywhere. They're not going to tow me across the country, but, you know, they'll tow me to a local repairs facility if it's something that I can't take care of myself.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice to have.
Oh, yeah.
You know, speaking of which, though, did you see recently that Volvo is offering free unlimited lifetime towing to anyone that owns a Volvo? And you don't even have to buy a new one. If you buy a 30-year-old Volvo, they're going to tow it for free if anything breaks down on it.
Well, that's interesting.
So I've got a theory here.
Uh-oh.
I need to build a rock buggy and put a Volvo grill on it. Okay, and like a Volvo hood. You know those guys, they build those two buggies and they just put like,
yeah, I've seen them. Those
so
things
I
are
need
cool.
to put like a Volvo hood and grill on this thing, and then I need to call them up and be like, "Hey, Volvo, I need to get my vehicle out to Moab, Utah to be fixed during Easter. Can you drive it out there for me?" You know, and
Somehow I don't quite think that's going to work.
you don't think it'll work?
I mean, if you put it to the point you had a Volvo VIN on the vehicle, then you could probably pass it off. But
Well, maybe I just need to buy a Volvo and build a tube buggy around it.
there we go. That works.
Yeah, there we go. They're just going to tow it no matter what.
We'll have that the second project on wheeling.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've ever seen somebody wheel a Volvo in my entire life.
I don't think I have either.
They don't, they don't make any of the military vehicles, do they?
I have no idea.
Yeah, we'll have to look that up sometime. I'm not knowledgeable on Volvos at all. But anyways, so yeah, you're way out of town. Keeping something like Good Sam or AAA is not a bad idea because especially if it's going to be a multi-day breakdown, both those services will, I believe, pay up to 5 or 7 days of a hotel stay. So, let's say you blow your clutch and you don't have the tools to do it. I do, but, not everybody
I think
necessarily.
I've got enough.
I've done a clutch with a friend of mine. We were on a wheeling trip up to the Sioux, northern Canada. We were on the U.S.-Canada bridge, and he got a hold of me or hailed me on the CB radio and said, I just lost my clutch. We're on the international bridge. He ended up limping it to the campground. We pulled it up in my trailer and went down to the local auto parts store, got a clutch, and replaced the clutch on the trailer.
Nice.
Out in the middle of nowhere in the
Nice.
woods. But, you do that.
Oh, yeah.
That's the kind of stuff you do. Like I said, the Inner MacGyver comes out. I also blew a clutch years ago on a Chevy S10 pickup that I was wheeling in northern Michigan. And you'll enjoy this. Everybody loves a good wheeling story. So I'm in this old S10 pickup. Pretty much a stock vehicle on 31s, blew the clutch out in the middle of nowhere. Just like many people do, kind of freaked out a little bit. So, oh man, what am I going to do? I'm like 8 miles from, civilization. A couple of guys on the run hitched me up to some tow straps, towed me all the way out.
Oh, wow.
Brought
Cool.
me in to my friend Bernie's place, pulled it into his front yard. Middle of the summer, it's all muddy. There's just mud and clay packed underneath this thing. And I'm thinking, how am I going to even get to anything without just getting showered? And Bernie says, no, man, I got this. And so he goes to his shed and gets out his lawn sprinkler and puts it on a hose, puts it underneath the S10, and then we sat there on his porch for about 6 hours drinking beer, watching the underside of my S10 get slowly cleaned with a lawn sprinkler.
Nice.
And then we did the clutch the next day.
That works.
And that you have friends to do that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's something you'll find in the wheeling community is that people a lot of times are willing to help out.
I've seen that at Silver Lake. My buddy Ed and I, a couple other people were up there. He was running his sandrail. Just got it back after some major overhaul work. And we go up Test Hill, and there's, 2 or 3 hills after Test Hill before you get to the exit ramp, I think it is?
I think that's right. I think it also depends on the year and how the winds have blown things. Yeah.
However many there were, we were on the very last one at the bottom, and the shift linkage bushing blew out, and we lost the bolt. So we're sitting there, people are coming down the hill, they're swerving out of the way to avoid hitting us. It's like, we're stuck. We can't move. We try to push it or pull it, and it's not going anywhere. And that morning, the camaraderie with the group. I saw a guy it was a skateboard logo on the back of his truck, start talking to him. Out of nowhere, this dude just shows up and says, "Hey, what's going on?" Says, "We lost a part." He goes, "Get in, I'll take you up to whatever the parts place is up there, and you can get a new one."
Very nice.
So just met the guy not hour before this, and yeah, he pulled up, gave us a hand. Buddy jumped in the rail with him. They went and got the part. We put it in, and we were good to go the rest of the day. It was great.
That is awesome.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't believe how helpful everybody was there with that. It was incredible.
That's what turned me over to wheeling from being in old cars and hot rods. It was because of the connection, the community that is in this hobby.
Yeah.
And people just help each other out. And parts, at least parts will help out, tools.
Yeah.
And then just lending a hand.
Oh, yeah.
That.
It was incredible. And I never got the guy's name, but if you're listening, thanks, man. Much appreciated.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, you never know who it is.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of the shift linkage there, years ago, I was 12, 13 years old. We're traveling through rural Tennessee or Kentucky. My mom and I were on our way to Florida. We were taking kind of the back highway way. We weren't doing I-75 for whatever reason.
Nice.
And
just when you were younger, had it been built yet?
Nice. I think so. I'm not sure. Pretty sure I-75 is older than me. But we're going down through this hilly area, and we saw a little Dairy Queen to pull in, get some ice cream. So she pulls in, old Oldsmobile station wagon.
Nice.
Goes to put it in gear, and we go to get out of the car, and the car starts rolling down and actually hit a concrete retaining wall. Didn't do any damage to the wall or to the car, but we're like, what the heck? Why don't we just park? The shifter linkage had come apart at the base of the steering column, and it was some bushing or clip. I don't remember exactly how it was connected originally on that car. It's been so long. But here we were, middle of nowhere, my mom kind of freaking out, saying, like, what are we going to do, And even as a kid, my little inner MacGyver came in, and I looked around. I said, we just need something to go through this hole. Basically, a cotter pin would have been fine. Didn't have a cotter pin, but I had a notebook from my school with a spiral bound, the metal spiral notebook. Yeah. Pulled the spiral out, fished it through a couple of times for good measure, wrapped it with some duct tape that I found somewhere.
Naturally.
Exactly. That fix stayed on that car till we got rid of it. Like 15 years later, we never fixed it correctly. So I mean, that's the kind of thing that you sometimes have to do. But. We're talking about all these cool repairs. We're talking about people helping you out. That doesn't mean that you don't have to be, or you don't have to be MacGyver to be a wheeler.
No,
you don't. You can go out with very little mechanical knowledge and do this. You need to be willing, though, to do so. You need to be willing to learn, and you need to be willing to get your hands greasy. That is the only complaint that I would have about some of the folks that I've been on trips. I've been on sanctioned trips where people show up with, say, brand new Jeep Rubicons or brand new, 4Runner Toyotas, and they go out wheeling, and they think because the dealership told them, or the guy at the dealer said, hey, you can take this anywhere. It'll go anywhere. It'll never get stuck, which there's not a vehicle in the world that'll never get stuck. No. And Now they either break something or they get stuck, and they just kind of stand back and they're like, well, everybody else needs to take care of this for me.
Yeah.
You need to be willing to get your own hands dirty.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's the only thing I'm saying. You don't need to know how to rebuild an engine.
No.
But you need to
Get
be
in, hold a strap, run a strap.
Exactly.
I'll full well admit there's been a number of times I don't know how to do something. I'll ask for help, but that doesn't mean I'm not willing to do whatever they need me to do to help.
Like taxes?
I do that myself. But
Oh, okay. I don't. I hire a tax guy.
There's a point you get where, you could be as self-reliant as possible, but everybody's eventually going to need help.
Well,
So don't be afraid to ask, but be willing to learn and help them to help you.
You know that I work a side job where I work for a demolition company. And, I've been around tools my entire life.
Yeah.
And, I can pretty much operate darn near any tool, drive near anything. Just the other day, I got on a scissor lift, and I've operated probably a dozen scissor lifts in my life. And I got on this thing, and I'm looking at this board, and I might as well have been looking at the operation board of a space shuttle. I mean, I couldn't understand. Apparently, the thing was made in a foreign country, and none of the symbols made any sense. And you had to push multiple buttons at the same time while operating a joystick for it to do anything.
That sounds like fun.
Well, I now have the hang of it, but I had to ask for help. Sometimes you feel embarrassed, but I get on the thing because the guy says to me, he says, "You know how to operate a scissor lift, right?" I say, "I know how to operate a scissor lift." I get up on there and I'm looking at this thing and I'm going,
Not this
one.
one.
no, I don't know. And I'm hitting buttons and nothing's happening.
Nice.
And, finally figured it out, of course.
So you flip the on switch, the button started working.
No, this one, it was a weird thing where you had to hold two buttons down simultaneously while operating a joystick. And which you can't operate it one-handed. It's impossible to operate it one-handed. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. We have 4 other scissor lifts on the site that don't operate like that.
Nice.
This particular one, it's what it does.
Interesting.
So, but yeah, learn your vehicle best you can. Take a class in recovery techniques or ask questions. If you have a friend that's been wheeling around, we've talked in the past about, if you have a winch, throwing a winch weight over. I think we need to do a whole episode on safe recovery. I wanted to kind of put that into this episode, but the more I think about it, really talking about being safe when recovering a stuck vehicle really needs to be an episode of its own.
Probably a good idea. Yeah.
Because we can talk about winching, we can talk about strapping, we can, talk about, airing down, all those types of things.
I've done it, and I know I've done it wrong.
Yeah. Well, actually, let's mention that real quick, though. Airing down. We've mentioned it before, airing down tires, you get more sidewall flex, you get more traction doing that. But believe it or not, I have seen dozens of people over the years where they're stuck, and just by going and airing down their tires, get out without any other assistance.
Did that at Silver Lake too. Buddy had a stock Colorado, and we went up there just for the day. And yeah, we started digging in. So we got out, we dropped the tire pressure down some more, pulled right out, no problem. It was great.
And it's super easy to do. I think pretty much most people that listen to this podcast would know how to deflate a tire.
I would hope.
But if you don't,
it's simple.
Pull off your valve cap, and there's a little pin there. It's called a Schrader valve. You can take something like a car key to let air out, and even
Make
just
sure
letting
you have a pressure gauge though.
If you don't, make sure that it doesn't start to bulge too much.
Yeah.
But a pressure gauge is a good idea. Good rule of thumb, if it's not a beadlock wheel, is never to go less than 15 psi.
See, I've heard 10.
You can. Depends on the width of the wheel.
Ah, good point, yeah.
I mean, you look at my Land Cruiser out there, we're running 1350 wide tires on a 7-inch wheel. I can take those down to 5 psi with no issue. Because that real narrow wheel with a real wide tire.
Makes sense.
Vice versa, if you're one of those stretch tire guys and you're running a 1250 wide tire on a 14 wide wheel.
Yeah, bad idea.
Yeah, you are that thing under 50, it's probably falling off the bead. So, but, so there you go. There's got to be, are we missing anything? Is there something else we should talk about for, what to do? I mean, should we talk a little more about the psychology of this?
I mean, we get to a point. Yeah.
Or at least the stages of it. So something happens on the trail, stay calm, figure out the situation, If you need 20 seconds to freak out for 20 seconds. Then, I read that forever ago in a philosophy book, and it was saying that allow yourself a minute of panic. 1 minute. Look at your watch. Go, okay, I can panic for a minute. Okay, minute's up. Now I need to go into survival mode. I need to figure out what I need to do. Then go into the mode of figuring out the situation. Whether you're doing it yourself or you're relying on friends and you're helping, do that. Get through the situation. Remember, you're never truly lost if you don't find your way home eventually.
True.
So if it takes you 5 days to get home, you still weren't really lost. You eventually found your way.
Yeah, probably going to need a shower too.
Oh, yeah. I know producer Andrew's down there kind of looking at us and tapping on his wristwatch. This episode has flown by.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And we probably have a lot of things we can talk about continued with this subject, and we will. That's the great thing about it. Before we sign off, I know we've had a couple of commercial breaks and we've had words from our sponsors, but we mentioned the Wheels in the Woods through the Museum of Off-Road Adventure. We do need to mention as well the patron account. If you're interested in supporting Wheelin', you can go to podbean.com. That's podbean.com. Look up Wheelin'. There's a button right there on our page to like our page, and there's one to become a patron for as low as $1, where you can help with the costs of producing this podcast. So that's really important. We want to talk to you about that. And then, of course, follow us on our social medias, which are, John, what are they on Twitter and Facebook and all that?
Wheelin' Radio, or at Wheelin' Radio, isn't it?
Yep, at Wheelin' Radio on Twitter.
I'm still learning the Twitter speak thing.
And then Facebook is just Wheelin'. And then, as always, the 4x4 Talk on Facebook. We didn't do a trivia question.
No, we didn't.
You got one?
I'd have to think for a couple minutes on that. I've got nothing off the top of my head. Or we could skip this round.
Oh, well, who wants to do that? Tell you what, we were talking about getting stuck, and we were talking about, recovery equipment a little bit. So I'm going to come up one off the top of my head here. Let's do a simple one this week. And I think we're just going to, since it's so simple, we're just going to give you a decal. We're going to send you a decal. We're going to drop one in the mail for you. And tell you what, we'll even do the first 4 correct answers on 4x4 Talk. What is the name of the predecessor to the Warren 8274 winch?
Ooh.
The Warren 8274 winch is one of the most popular winches of all times, but prior to being called the 8274, it was called something else. What was it called?
I have no clue.
Well, you'll have to look it up later, John.
Does that mean I can win it?
No. You already have a decal. So, all right. So that's your trivia question for this week. What is the predecessor to the Warren 8274 winch? We will accept, actually, tell you what, we're going to accept, there was 2 predecessors. One was a number answer. One is a name answer. We will accept either of them as long as they're correct. And that we'll throw that on the 4x4 Talk. So go to the 4x4 Talk Facebook group, join that, and put your answer when you see the official trivia post go up for this episode. And first 4 people that answer it correctly are going to get a decal mailed to them.
That works.
Well, John, I think it's about that time. You know what you need to do.
Sounds good. Thanks for listening, and have a good one, everybody.